God bless America.
Amen, brother. Amen. And I think he does. And the president said last night that he, God, he believes, spared him, for that bullet for a reason, from that bullet for a reason. And this is the greatest political comeback in the history of human civilization. Teddy Roosevelt tried to do something like this. This is beyond Grover Cleveland. Teddy Roosevelt failed, by the way. But even if Teddy Roosevelt did do it, they did try to kill Teddy Roosevelt, but they didn't try to imprison him, destroy his family, destroy his businesses, destroy his supporters, throw his supporters in jail, weaponize everything against the culture and politics and in the judiciary. And this is the biggest. I don't want to use that because it's such a cliche, but this was the biggest take back of voter sovereignty in the history of human civilization. Period.
Okay, but
wait. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
This was the biggest take back of voter sovereignty in the history of human civilization. We are the preeminent self-governing society. There has never been a bigger FU to a ruling class. Like, you cannot do this. You are not allowed. We are in charge.
Love that. Keep going, Rich. I love that.
Break it down for us.
I think what happened here is last night you had a bunch of longtime Democratic constituencies say, never again. You lied to us. Never again. You've been losing us anyway, but this is too much, too far. We're done with the lie. It's over. We don't believe it anymore. And then we had, I think, even upper class, because I was listening while I was waiting, like, this mandate is much bigger, much more significant than in 2016. This wasn't done on the back of white working class turnout and low turnout in certain urban areas. That's not fully the story. Like, they're going to get pretty close to their targets in Philadelphia. The story is less black voters came out to vote for Hillary Clinton came out to vote for Kamala Harris than Hillary Clinton as a share of the electorate, because some of them said no more. And then others said, I'm just going with Trump. And then yet we could also point to places on the map like Oakland County in Michigan. This is a very affluent, wealthy, educated, white area north of Detroit. And it's the Detroit burbs, but north of it, it's to the west of Macomb, where there are more working class, old school, what we used to refer to as Reagan Democrats and that kind of a demographic. Oakland County, Biden thrashed Trump in 2020. It's just true. He thrashed him. And she slid significantly and barely carried it by 10 points. I mean, 10 points sounds like a lot, but it's not for a Democrat in the modern era. Then she goes on to get crushed in Macomb by almost 20 points. Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 14 points in Macomb, and that was like, oh my God. This was even bigger than that. Anyway, you can go down to Florida. I know it's not competitive, but it just speaks to the points that we've been making. I had him carrying Miami-Dade by 6 in a poll that had Trump up by 11. He outperformed that poll. He carried Miami-Dade by a larger margin.
What's the final margin in Miami-Dade? When we last looked, it was +3.
I think we won by 11.
What?
No, it's 11. Yeah, yes, it's just under. I'll read you exact one. It is 55.4 to 43.9, and then go north where Jacksonville is, where there are more affluent, rich white people. He took Duval County back, and it swung. Biden won Duval by about 4 points. It swung 6 points to Donald Trump, and that bode well for Georgia because Duval has this weird relationship. It moves with Georgia. Georgia usually is a few points to the right of Duval. This time they're about, close. They're on the money.
Yeah, we got work to do in Georgia long term. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
I wish Georgia was a little stronger. Yeah, I wish Georgia was a little stronger than it is. But that Atlanta sprawl just leaking out into the suburbs.
A 2.3 point win.
Yeah, no, we'll take it,
man.
We're good.
I will say that please, Rich, go.
I was just going to say, and look at North Carolina. I know they were concerned about turnout. Our final poll, which we released on Thursday, was Trump 51.1 to Harris 47.1. The margin is 51.1 to Harris 47.7. So we nailed Trump's share of the vote. 6/10 off of Harris's. There's a lot of structural disadvantages for Democrats in the Tar Heel state. It tends to poll a lot more left than it is. Close, it's close. I mean, 4 points almost is kind of close. If you want to go by that standard, but North Carolina is like not that much closer than New Jersey.
But hold on a second. I just want to say that's a great performance for Trump, given Mark Robinson was not doing him any favors. He was sinking them, and the Democrats spent a ton of money in North Carolina.
And time.
A ton of, like, a lot of money in North Carolina.
I mean, you look at the way Wisconsin...
I'm very happy with that result.
Yeah, very good. Well, you look at the way Wisconsin's breaking down, 30,000 delta there. I mean, thankfully she was off in North Carolina wasting her time instead of, trying to gin up 30,000 more votes in Wisconsin, right? I mean, our chasers... Rich, we're not publishing the exact numbers, but let me just say that without our chase in Wisconsin, we can definitively, because we can track all this stuff. I mean, the data, where we watched the ballots come in, and without our chase, Wisconsin falls. What's also crazy is we can look at Arizona. Well, we don't know the final numbers in Arizona because it's a third world country when it comes to running elections, but that's our margin right there, and then some. Like, so. It was a full team effort, but I will tell you, the low props came out and they came out roaring.
I was just going to say, like, you guys, you focused a lot on Arizona. You did work in Wisconsin. You had groups like Pressler's group and others in Pennsylvania, too, doing work. And you can very clearly see that the local Republicans there, especially in Bucks, man, they knew what they needed to do, and they had some extra help to do it. The ground game is so important. That certainly is a part of this story. In Michigan, there's a lot of different groups, and I'm not trying to I don't want to exclude anybody. I'm just saying that I can give numbers because I know from the 10X votes crowd, which is like Drew Weirda over there. I know you guys, Eric Prince's pet project. And, they identified 1.7 million low and no prop voters that they believed if they could get about 300,000, reach about 300,000, that they could flip Michigan. Well, as of the morning of Election Day, when I pulled the list to see how many voters from that low prop list had voted, it was 587,000. I'm not saying they reached all of them, but it's like somebody, I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. We'll find out. You can track that, actually, like you guys can. But without these things, this could have went differently.
Well, we learned our lessons.
So yeah, let me ask you, Rich, how big of a deal...
In Arizona, amazing. I mean...
Well, the numbers are still, but we're up 5, and based on my modeling and our modeling, I anticipate that margin to increase in Arizona.
Me too.
The New York Times has taken off. They're not modeling anymore. They're like, okay, yeah, it's kind of done because it's just not interesting. But again, it's super interesting for us.
Did they call it yet?
No, they haven't. But again, Trump is up. He's up 4.7. So for all intents and purposes, he's up 5, and he's up 107,000. Up 107,000 votes in Arizona.
Big one.
Yeah, and by the way,
have the coattails here to pull.
Kerry, no, by the way, so Kerry can do it. Kerry 100% can do it.
What's your take on that, Rich?
She can.
There's a ton of votes left. A ton.
There is a lot left, and those last 2 dumps that were put out, there was a mix of county. Yeah, that was incredible for her. I mean, that is exactly what she needs going forward. It will be close, but she could eke it out, and she could actually do it without carrying Maricopa. You don't want to be there, but because you guys, and I mean,
Mojave,
it was you. I mean, let's be honest. Give credit where credit's due. Because you guys, you definitely focused, as you should have, on Maricopa, but there are a lot of votes coming in from counties that are changing the math in Arizona.
Yeah, because we staffed heavily in Yavapai, and we staffed heavily in Mojave.
In Mojave, yeah.
Look at these totals. You used to have to win Maricopa. You used to have to if you wanted any prayer to win Arizona, but that's just not true anymore. And then
I wonder
something's
why.
happening. Yep.
See, our whole math was like, wait a second. Why don't we? Apache's crooked as a $3 bill, but why don't we just extract more votes out of Mojave and Yavapai?